Hello everyone, this is Santiago Vásquez.
And I'm Martin Cervantes.
And welcome to the DOTTE POD,
where
communication
truly matters.
Indeed. Without communication, as we say before, there is not diplomacy. Without diplomacy, there is conflict.
We're in trouble.
Absolutely. 100%.
We're in trouble.
Okay. So what's going on today, Mr. C?
Wow, another special day. Every day is a special day when we're able to wake up and get up and
because
move
you're
around.
looking at me, of course.
I didn't say that. I said when you're able to wake up, get up, and do good things. So
there we go.
Thankful to be alive. Today we are here at my. I guess this is my headquarters from work.
Oh.
This is where I spend a lot of my time. Helping our youth. And trying to make a difference. That's all we're doing. Just trying to make a difference. Hopefully, our youth is listening. We have two amazing people here with us. Today, this morning, we are in the Juvenile Detention Center, JDC building, Juvenile Service Center building, but we're actually in the Detention Center right now. We're in the training room. We have with us Adrienne Gilchrist and Jelani Coppage here with us this morning. Welcome.
There we go. Welcome to the DOTTE POD. Okay, so Mr. C, since you happen to know better than I do, why don't you start?
Well, I've known Adrienne for a good, 15 years, and Jelani, both of you guys, since I started working here. We work very closely together. They have opened up the doors for not only the school district, but myself, to be able to reach out to all these young men and women. It's just, like I said, they're just amazing people. That care, they love our community, they love our youth, they want to see our youth do better for themselves.
Okay.
Adrienne,
let's just start with you, ladies first. That's extremely important. Okay, tell us a little bit about yourself, your cultural background and education, so that we have a better understanding of who you are.
Well, I've been in Kansas City now for 30 years. My mother moved here. We moved originally from California. Though I'm not a Raiders fan, but I'm from California. Came here. I originally wanted to be an FBI agent, and I started working over in Jackson County, and decided to come over here. And so, all that other stuff kind of went down the hill. But being here, I've been here 21 years, so while I was here, I said, you know what, I want to be here and grow. So I went ahead and I finished up my bachelor's degree, got my master's degree in public administration, and so I just started to climb up the ladder, because that's what I wanted to do, and I wanted to get back to the kids, not only just climbing up, but being involved. Even though I am the facility manager here now, I originally started on the floor as a juvenile care worker. Then we were just juvenile officers, but we changed it through the years. I'm, like I said, even though I'm in administration, I still go down in the battlefield. I like to be down there, just being down there with the kids, because being out in the streets, sometimes I see a lot of these kids that have come through here, and just to know that they come to me and say, hey, this is my family, this is my son, my daughter, my wife, or hey, I'm working, I just want to let you know, I want to say thank you to you. So that makes me feel good. So I've been here for 21 years, just being here. Jelani and I, we've worked close together for many years. He's also moved up in the ranks from juvenile care worker up to a lieutenant. And we've been in some things here. We learned a lot. We learned a lot about people, the kids, and like, I can't speak for him, but I can speak for myself as well. But giving back has been the most heartwarming thing for me to do.
don't ask her what she learned about me, okay? She's talking about learning about people, because I don't know what she'll say, so.
But here we, as everybody knows, we moved into a new facility. We originally were occupying, what people don't understand is we occupied a space in the sheriff's department. We was never supposed to be there 20-something years. It was only supposed to be a short-term thing. There was administrators and commissioners years ago that used to fight to get, our own space back. But when it comes to budgeting and different things like that, that's a whole nother ball game. This has been in the works for a long time. People think it's just a jail. It's not just a jail. They got services here. There's things for the kids, to do here. We've got a lot of programs that are in here. One of the programs that's been here for years that people don't know is Mr. Cervantes. He's been there with us for years doing things, and we appreciate you. Hands on. It's not just coming in talking to kids, not just inside. He's been doing it outside as well. And so that's one of the programs that that we have. We have Women on the Move.
Mm-hmm. Young women on the move.
Yes. 180 program. Wyandotte for Warriors. They're over here. We have a Christian-based group that comes in on Sundays. They come in on other days and do things. And so, like I said, even though we're in this new building, there's things going on. And as I was saying, I want to back up as far as the using the space that we were in over across the street. There's adults over there. These are kids. It's supposed to be sight and sound that they're not supposed to be around each other.
Correct.
So, there was, those kids were over there. No, not that they seen the adults. It's just that, you open up a door, you're on a whole other side.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we had to make sure that eventually we had our own space. And then plus, that freed up for the adults, for them to be able to bring their people back in, their offenders and whatever back into there. So that freed up a lot of money for them. But this place I love it. This new place for the kids. They do a lot in here. We do hold felonies, not misdemeanors. Kids, we hold nothing but felony kids. So we're not just holding kids in here just to be holding them and play with them here. We have felons here. But the thing is, even though we have felons here, the kids, you'll be surprised. I mean, they do amazing. They're not even really getting in trouble in here. It's like they come in here, and it's like we haven't had a lot of problems like we used to.
No,
we used to have a lot of fights. And
across the street, yep.
Yeah. We used to have a lot of fights. We used to have a lot of behavior things going on. But like I said, we have so many programs in here. They're busy, and they're wanting to do better. And they're doing. They learn how to clean the rooms, fold clothes, wash clothes. These are things that people may not think is a big deal, but these kids didn't know how to do that. So they're learning responsibility. They're learning how to do things for their own. So that's a lot.
So people that don't know about JDC, they might assume that they're just being housed in here, right? You get 3 meals a day, shower, go to bed, you're done. But you're actually doing something for all this youth by bringing other programs, life skills, things like that.
We have USD 500 in here. Right now they're in not summer school, but they're on a break until school starts. So they got continuously education going on. Yeah, so in the mornings they get up, they clean their rooms. They have breakfast, 6 o'clock in the morning. They go back to sleep. If it's not a school time, they're in their rooms till 9 o'clock. They come out, they clean, they're in their area. We have people that come in that's doing hour programming, depending on what they got, anger management, those type of things going on. Then at 11 o'clock, they're eating lunch from 11 to 12. They go to gym, they get gym time. They like to, so they can watch movies or go to the gym. They have an opportunity to do what they would like to do. Then there's other programs going on. Then you start again. We stay on continuous programming.
So we're going to get a little bit into that now. I want to go with this young man right here. So you're a lieutenant.
Yes.
Okay. Now, tell me a little bit about your cultural background, educational background, and what inspired you to become part of the law enforcement side. In this case, it would be the juvenile side of the law.
I'm born and raised Kansas City, Kansas. I have a cumulative associate's degree. I kind of fell into this job because I was doing retail, but I did want to do something that could help people, and what better people to help than our youth. Our kids need to see positive role models, especially those role models that look like them. So that's one thing. I'm happy that Martin's here. We had a very bad gang problem the first couple of years that I was here. These kids couldn't even interact with each other peacefully, period. When they would see each other, there were fights immediately. So when Martin comes in, we decided to have basically a gang summit. And it was me and another officer and Martin with, I don't know, probably about six different rival gangs.
I think there were like 16 of them.
And, you know, I was worried, of course, you know, because typically those guys were fighting. But the respect that they had so much respect for Martin that there was a civil conversation. And the kids, then we started mixing them in pods together. And it was understood that, hey, once you're in JDC, this is our house. All that stuff on the street, you leave on the street. Here we're trying to better you. You know, we're trying to get you to learn life skills and how to deal with, you know, conflict resolution without getting physical. You know, and hopefully that eventually spills out onto the street where it was like, okay, you know, this violence and all this is not the way. You know, I remember when Cervantes said this to me, you know, okay, let's try this. You know, so I think that was very helpful. And then, you know, he's been here a while and I've learned things from him from, you know, talking to him about conversations about things that went on with his life. And then I can even talk to the kids about that stuff and as well as my life. So I think this job, as they say, it's a thankless job. If you're looking, you know, to get a pat on the back, you're in the wrong industry. But if you're genuinely here to help better these kids, you know, and if you see one of these kids out here, you know, 25, 26 years old, and they see you and they thank you for what you said. You might not even remember what you said to these kids, but they're like, I remember this conversation and I appreciate that you talked to me and this is what I'm doing with my life. I'm on the straight and narrow. That's the thanks that you want to hear. You know, like, oh man, that was amazing. You know, I'm glad you shared that with me.
Now, you mentioned before, the very beginning of the program, that we have felons in this building. Now, what is the minimum age, to say this, what is the minimum age of a child that has committed a felony to enter the Juvenile Detention Center?
10.
10.
And we had them here before.
And the maximum age, I'm assuming is
17.
17.
Yeah, when they turn 18, we take them across the street. So we don't hold misdemeanors in here. That's with JIC.
Yes.
And so a lot of people get that mixed up. They think we're just have misdemeanor kids with traffic warrants in here. That's not how it goes.
So the Juvenile Detention Center is housing, detaining juveniles from the ages of 10
to 17.
to 17. So at the age of 10, although this is a child and the child has committed a felony, the child is not considered a child in need of care, correct?
No. I mean, the child in need of care is a totally different.
No, correct.
Yeah.
I understand that part. I was thinking that although I figured that it would be from the ages of 14 to 17. So you actually had children below.
Well, we
under
don't
the
have
age.
any. We haven't had any. It's
But I
been
mean,
years. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but a kid under the age of 14, if the kid has committed a felony,
Yes.
They
the
will
kid
come in here.
will come here.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, man, this is tough.
It is.
This is tough because we're talking about a generational gap. A child between the ages of 10 to 17. Yeah, how do you house and protect a child at the age of 10
Right.
from a child, from another kid who is not 15, 16,
Right.
17?
And you don't see that. That's not often. That used to be years ago, and you have that type of. But you don't really see that. Things have changed a lot,
Hmm.
where you get mostly, I think the youngest I see now is probably 14.
14.
Yeah, so, yeah.
And then
The reason I'm asking this is because I had the chance to visit the old state prison in Missouri. And he housed the famous heavyweight champion of the world, Sonny Liston. And the stories that I got from them, because he was a minor when he went in, and they housed him with adults. He has to survive while he was there. I was just wondering about that. Okay, so what's the population? How many juveniles can you house?
we can house up to 48. That's
48.
what we're licensed for, yep, for 48.
48.
And this also includes Leavenworth County, correct?
Well, because now we house Leavenworth and Atchison kids, because I guess they pretty much couldn't, they either closed their centers or whatever, I think, if I'm correct. And so we have Leavenworth kids that come here and Atchison kids that come here.
I'm sure, I'm a firm believer in discipline, accountability and responsibility. That's how I see my life. Hey, responsibility, accountability. How do you teach? How do you instill accountability, responsibility in a child that comes from, most of the time, from very dysfunctional families? How do you do that?
And you're right, that's
It's
very
hard.
difficult.
I mean, we done seen, you think that you're getting to a kid sometime because you have them one-on-one conversations with them. But again, like you said, when they leave here, they have to go back to that home that they came from. Most of the time, it's a lot of recidivism that comes through here. So I see the same kid, and to answer your question, I could see this one kid and talk to him, and it may not get to them right away. We had a kid, for example, that he had been coming to us since he was maybe 12. He aged out. He's now 18. But I seen changes in him as he got older. And he could tell you something like what he just said, something you may have told them years ago, and they remember that. Even though they're not in our life their whole time and they're leaving, some of the things that we speak to them about, they take with them. And so if you just keep talking to a child and keep letting them know that somebody cares, some of them listen. And that's all they want.
It is a hard thing to do because, as we all know, and we all said already, they go back to what they know. They go back to their comfort zone, you know, and a lot of times it's not the right place for them to go to because we're trying to help them understand and react differently to different situations. And 99% of people that are incarcerated, the first thing that they want to do, or we want to do if we were incarcerated, is change. We turn to God. I'm not going to do the same thing again. Right? So when they're in here, we get their full attention, you know, because they're actually listening. You know, unfortunately, going back to where they came from, there is pressure. And there's no really stability at home. So they go back and forget about what they did. But there is something that stays in the back of their mind. You know, something that these officers might have said to him or to her. You know, if they continue to water that, of course, that seed is going to bloom and you know, but it is a hard thing to do.
I mean, because we can spend probably hours talking about, well, how much does it cost taxpayers to house a child, a juvenile, and in your facilities, and what percentage of these kids are actually but what percentage of the kids that are being housed here have some kind of a psychological problem? What percentage of these kids are taking medication? But the question is always this, a question that I have, and you use that word recidivism. How do we stop the recidivism? Because the criminal is not born, unless you're some kind of a psychopath or a sociopath. But you learn to become a criminal. It's kind of like racism. Racism is nothing, you know, I'm going to hate people. No.
It's learned,
It's learned. Either you learn it at home or you learn it with the people that you associate yourself with. So how do we teach skills to a child? And this child goes, I am done with this. I'm never gonna do this again. But then he goes out to the real world one more time. And once you commit a felony, employment,
It's hard to get.
it's
Yeah.
hard to get.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think what it takes, excuse me,
Mhm.
is I'm a firm believer in it takes a village.
Right.
It truly takes a village. The community has to come together as one. We have to be able to extend help to those families that need help. We know there's a lot of single parent homes. People have to go to work. People have to survive. So what is that kid doing when mom is at work or dad's at work? Who is helping these families? So the community as a whole has to come together. There's not just one answer. JDC can't just solve this problem by itself. The community can't just solve it by itself. But we do need more community involvement because, once again, once these kids leave here, all the stuff that we've taught them for, say, a week or 6 months, that stuff goes out of the window once they get back into that environment, and now they're back in survival mode. This is what I have to do to survive.
And we have had successful stories.
Mm.
And I know a few young men that are actually working and have a family.
Nice.
And they still
Yes.
talk about JDC
Mhm.
and the experience and how they were treated. And they were treated with respect. And they learned a lot in here. I just saw one young man 2 weeks ago. He's working. You know, he's not perfect, like we are not perfect, but he's actually doing something productive now. You know, and I think it's minimum what we see now, that the changes and people doing better for themselves, but it becomes a chain, a link. You know,
Yes.
you add one link at a time, and of course the village, the community, the people.
Mm.
You know, I believe back in the days, you know, the neighbors used to get involved.
Yes.
Oh, Johnny's doing this. Oh, don't do that. And now it's like, oh, not my child, not my
Mhm.
problem.
That's right.
It is our problem. It is our children.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know.
What is the longest amount of time that a juvenile can spend housed in this facility?
90 days is usually, but the length of stay is usually 14 days. But depending, now with COVID, you have, the cases are not, I won't say prolonged or whatever, but it's just getting them into court, and then, if they got lawyers, you got to depend on their case. It's like, so it's drawn out sometime, whatever, but
Mhm.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to the highest level of crime. A murder, a homicide. A juvenile commits a homicide. And for how long is this child here, or does he have to be transferred to another facility that is more?
will depend on if they get adjudicated. If they get adjudicated, then whenever they adjudicate them, they take them on to the next spot, and that'll be across the street. So they could be here, say, they do their pre-trial stuff they have to do. That could take maybe 2-3 months, and stuff that they have to do in court. And then once they go to figure out they're gonna try them as an adult, it could take up to 6 months sometime or whatever, So
And, correct me if I'm wrong, but at 16 they can be adjudicated as an
Yeah.
adult.
Yes.
Once that happens, once the judge says you're gonna be tried as an adult, then you go to the adult side.
Which is very rare, though.
Right.
For
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
16.
Mhm. Although we had, I remember 3 or
Yes.
4 cases that we had in here.
Oh yeah.
So a kid comes here. Now, is the kid, you mentioned education, school. So the District 500 is here.
Yeah, District 500 is in here.
Okay, so District 500 provides education to the juveniles.
Mhm.
Now, it is required for them to take the classes, or is it something like, well, I don't want to take these classes?
No, they have to go to school
They
in
must.
here. Yes.
It is a must.
Mhm. And then their credits and stuff are transferred back to their school that they'll
Mhm.
go to. So if they went to school in Washington or they're in middle school, their credits will go back with them.
Now, have you had any success with kids getting their high school diploma while in here?
Yes.
And the teachers do a great job.
Oh
They
yeah.
have a very difficult job because, as we said, we have kids from the age of 10 to 17. They have IEPs, and these kids can be in the same group. So they got to figure out, how am I going to teach this 12-year-old
Mhm.
this subject here, and I got a 17-year-old here on a high school level. So yeah, they have a very, very challenging job.
Mm-hmm.
And then you guys have an IEP person that comes in.
Yes.
So if they have an IEP or any type of special needs that they may have, they're good at getting those people in here and helping those kids. But like he said, it is.
Shout out to my people, USD 500, all the teachers in here. You're doing a good job.
Oh yeah,
Amazing.
most definitely.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is great. Now, tell me about one of your programs that, I don't know if you can talk about it, but one of your programs that actually helps prepare these kids to have a better life, other than taking school classes. What kind of programs you may have that may prepare the juvenile, once the juvenile gets released, for the real world?
Well, one of the programs we have is anger management.
Okay.
And so they take that class, I think, either 1 or 2 weeks. And so I'm not sure exactly what they do in that anger management class, but think about that as well. So if that kid has anger issues, and we do see a lot of that, that may make them go back when they go in their cells or when they leave here, things that they can think about is to take out in the world with them. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what they do, and I can't speak on that, but those are things that can help. Like you said, when you was talking about mental awareness or whatever, those are issues that can help. We also have the guy comes over from the health center. He does health education with them. We know a lot of kids are sexual. That may make them think twice about going out here doing some of the things that they do with, young females or females with males or whatever. So we have sexual education.
Sexual education.
So they come in, and he does that class only with 15 or
15 on up.
15 on up. We don't do it with he doesn't do it with the younger kids. They have to be a certain age.
And the class is excellent.
Yeah.
You know how some kids can be I don't want to go do this, and those kids paid attention. They asked questions because there's a lot of preconceived notions about sex that they've heard, and those kids asked questions and they learned. So yeah, I definitely been in that class. He would have it for a week, and it was very beneficial for these kids. They learned a lot.
Being that I'm a mentor for the school district, and I've been here for 15 years in the facility. I gotta give you guys credit also, because and all your staff, because you also become mentors when you start de-escalating situations. You establish relationships with all these young men and women. And then I know later on you will tell me, hey, can you please talk to this person or to that person? And you already know what's going on. So, my hats off to you, because you're also, doing a job that a lot of people don't know about. Not just being here and keeping them secure and safe, but you're also mentoring these young men and women here. And you might not see it right away, but it's there. The seed has been planted.
And that's why I was saying I get the gratification from when I'm out and somebody comes to me and they're 30 years old and can remember me and say certain things. So yeah, that gives you, makes you.
Yes.
I used to tell my fellow officers, because I spent 27 years as a police officer. I said, we handcuff them and we just drop them off. We don't deal with them until they come out. And the price, I used to tell them, I said, we have no clue whatsoever what the people are doing inside the Juvenile Detention Center or the Adult Detention Center. That is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, you are with them for at least 8 hours a day.
Right.
And look, I'm with this people, handcuff you as a police officer. I might be with you for an hour. Bye. I don't want to see you again.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. That's what police officers do.
Yeah.
I hate to say that.
Yeah.
But that's the truth.
Yeah.
I don't want to offend anybody, but then here you guys are, and because that's what's going through my mind right now. How do you handle that
24/7.
yourself?
Yeah.
How do you handle that psychologically? Because
You're right.
Years ago when we used to have a lot of difficult type people that were in here, I mean, it could be stressful. There was days you'd be like, whew, I don't want to go back there. Because we as juvenile officers, we don't have weapons and stuff in there. You
Mhm.
just have your hands. You have to protect yourself, you know. And it's not like, well, we don't have those type of kids. Like we used to have kids that would literally attack. Yeah, and so it's like, but there was times you can get certain people going in, you talk to them and calm down. So people understand that you have to deal with the psychological part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you take that stuff home. So one of the things that I preach to my staff is, hey, when you leave here, you leave that job there. You know, so it can, and then just to see some of these kids and hear their stories, that is stressful too.
Yes.
Mhm.
I mean,
But I also know that you guys have a program here when they have different levels for the students, and I know there's a reward also. Can you please talk about that?
Yeah. When they come in, when they initially come in, it's a white band. That's the orientation, and what the white band is just showing that they're new into the facility, and then 2-3 days later they get a red band. That takes them up, and what they're doing is they're learning what to do in here, you know, what we do in the mornings, just pretty much learning things here.
Yeah.
So and as they go, then they can move up, and they can move up to a blue band, which that blue band allows them to stay out longer in their pod area, watch TV. Then they go to a green band. The green band allow them to stay out even longer, which means they don't get in no trouble. We, you know, get in trouble at all, give the staff trouble. And they stay out to like 9 or 10. And then, so we also, what I created is called a gold band. The gold band allows that kid to get out and do things, help us clean up around the facility, because they like to, what they're doing now is earning bucks. So we open up our own little store in here. And so it just teaches them, like, again, responsibility, how to do things, how to shop for themselves or whatever. But they like to clean up, get their little bucks. It's fake money, like Monopoly money, like we made it. And there's candy bars. If they make some money that week, they may want to buy some popcorn or nachos. Or we may do a movie night and they buy nachos, hot dogs, whatever, because they've earned it, you know. So keeping their room clean, staying out of trouble, or helping fold the clothes, or clean out, you know, outside or whatever. Those are things they like to do.
Has this program helped with their
behavior? Oh yes, most definitely. Because they want to get, if I see Johnny over here eating cakes and stuff, and I know I'm in trouble because I can't. Now they won't get bucks if they've been fighting or acting a fool. So that's why I said the behavior issues have been down, because they want. I see Johnny over here eating a hot dog and nachos.
Right,
I'm like, man, I want it too. Yeah, or having a juice and stuff and candy bars and Snickers, you know. So it's like, yeah, they do. They stay out of trouble. They stay out of trouble. They try to. The crazy thing is, what I've seen in the last couple months is, if I got a guy that I know stays in trouble, he's over here like, hey man, stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
They're mentoring, they're helping.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah.
helping each other.
They're
Cool.
encouraging others, and that's what they told me last week. They're like, because I'm just trying to tell them, you know, stay out of trouble. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, and I laugh because I always put this in their head, you're already in jail. Why get locked up? You're already in
jail within the jail.
Yeah.
Right. So they always they repeat my words back to me. Yeah, I told them we're already in jail. Why get locked up again? And so it's like, okay. So I'm like,
See, they're listening.
Yeah,
they're
listening
listening.
to what
They're
I'm saying.
listening.
So-
Yep.
Now, what type of physical activities, what type of sports? I don't know if you have any type of physical sports.
And we don't have to talk about their skills, okay? Just how they play.
That's not talking about their skills.
For the kids.
Well, you know, when they have gym, they get at least an hour. And we have an overhead to where they can play inside during the winter, but then we can raise the overhead during the summer, so they actually get natural sunlight. There's grass out there. There's a garden out there. So a lot of times they're playing basketball, or they're playing football, or they're playing soccer. So, but we have a ping pong table out there for them too. So there's
Like a
all
heavy
kinds of
bag?
activity. We used to across the street, but we don't have the heavy bag anymore.
Why not?
But I think it tore up.
Yeah.
I believe it tore up. But they have all
Does it
kinds of
cost much to
activities.
get a heavy bag?
Yeah.
Let me know, I'll get you one.
Hey, okay.
Bring it in. Let me know. I'll bring it in.
But we gotta, you know, find
Yeah,
out, see
yeah.
if we can do that.
And they do the little the bocce ball
Balls.
during the winter
Yeah.
too. So there's all kind of things for them to do. And sometimes they just want to go outside and sit at the tables and just, you know, have conversations.
Right.
So they have plenty of opportunity to get physical activity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we used to have a treadmill and stuff out there.
Yeah.
In our old place, we just don't have the space in here. We don't have nowhere to put it at, but we have treadmills and stuff for them. They used to
Bicycle.
stay running on those things. Yeah, and a bicycle, and they used to love to do that.
And Gilchrist even brought her group in to play basketball
We're not gonna
against the
talk about
kids.
that.
About 3 weeks ago, you know, they found out that they're not in their
So
teams anymore.
yeah, and we did that a month ago, and my ankle still is not right. And the kids, the kids, they laughed about that because we came in here thinking, yeah, we're gonna show them up, play basketball. Yeah, I've been limping for a month now, so we didn't win not one game either.
No.
So
Now-
they love that.
What about visitation? How often can they be visited by?
We do visit 7 days a week. Their parents, they just have to call in. We have a system where once they come in, like I said, the orientation part of it, we wait 24 hours before they can actually make a visit because we want to see when they're going to court and whatever else. Because sometimes they may not go to court. They may just get released. So there's no reason to hold up a space where somebody else could have had that space. So visitations are set up through our intake person, and we do that in the mornings we start at 8 in the morning to lunchtime. Between lunchtime, we don't do any, or dinner time, because we like them to have a hot meal.
So a 90 day is the maximum amount of time that we can spend here, correct?
It varies.
Yeah,
Like I
it
said,
varies.
depending on the case. But we do, because we have to do exceptions. Like if it goes past that time.
But the average is about 90 days.
Oh, it's less than
That's
that now.
Less?
Mhm.
Now,
That's
when we
Yeah,
years back, when our population was 50 and 60 kids,
right.
you know, goodness, that's a lot of kids.
Mm.
So now today, our population, we're sitting at 14.
Right.
So, you know, it's a world of difference. But, you know, the court cases, sometimes they just drag on a little bit. And I know you used to have to do those 90-day exceptions,
Right.
you know, if they had to stay longer. But we have no control of that.
I'm gonna take you back to visitation. For people that don't know out there, what are parents allowed to bring in here for their kids?
Themselves.
Themselves.
That's it.
That's it.
No.
Nothing else. They
No.
can
No
have
phone.
a tamales or tacos or a cheeseburger,
No,
No.
sir.
you
No
know,
cell phone.
chocolate milk, anything like
No.
that. No.
Before they're even allowed, you know, they have to be ran. We got to make sure no one has any felonies. There's no sex offenders coming in here around these juveniles.
Right.
So they're ran prior to being even allowed to come in this building. And then once all of that's cleared, you know, they come in. They come through metal detectors upstairs, and then when they come downstairs, we still use the wand to wave them through. They have to sign in, and they get a 30-minute visit.
Are this contact or non-contact
It
visitations?
could be contact.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But, you know, during COVID, we were doing non-contact, but, you know, typically it's contact. You can hug your kid, you know, kiss your kid, whatever the case may be. And the visit's 30 minutes. Mom, dad, grandma, grandpa. If they have a child, then, you know, mom or dad can bring the child up. We'll put their name on the visitation list. So
How about girlfriends, boyfriends?
No, sir.
No.
No
Yeah.
girlfriend, no boyfriend.
What if I'm a gold band? I haven't got into any trouble since I've been here. And I asked my mom, "Man, can you bring me a pizza for the whole pot?" Will you guys allow that?
No.
No? Oh,
Because
dang.
it's still a jail.
Now,
So the
I
one
know.
thing I do for them is give them a video visit with their family without even having to pay for it, if that's something they would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
do you have any training for the parents?
Training?
Yes, any type of training.
No, not in here. We don't.
No, you don't.
But I think that JIC and them have like resources
Yes,
and whatever, but we don't.
Resources.
Yeah.
Community corrections and
Yeah.
the court services, they do have different programs for parents.
For parents.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Heartland 180 is one of them. They have things for their parents also.
Right.
Wow, it's awesome. Now, what is the greatest satisfaction that you get or you get?
Besides working with me.
No, here we go. One of the most.
So,
How can you deal with this guy? What is the greatest satisfaction
So,
that you get
it is-
from doing this job? You
it
said
definitely
it is. It is
It
what?
definitely is when, you know, I can be out and I hear somebody call me by name.
Mm-hmm.
And I turn around and I'll forget a name, but I won't forget a face.
Okay.
And I'll look up like, That's one of the kids from JDC. And they'll just tell me about the struggles that they had and the stuff they learned, and now they're not struggling anymore. Sometimes it'll be something that I said, sometimes it'll be something that somebody else said, you know, in the facility. I'm like, hey, I ran into so-and-so, and they told me to let you know they appreciate what you did for them.
Yeah.
That is so rewarding because, you know, what you're doing, it's working. Even if you reach just one, it was worth it.
Yes.
Because now that one can turn around and reach one. And we just keep reaching one and reaching one. And we'll be better for it. So that is very, very rewarding.
And
I guess for me, the same what he's saying, but also to know that I was one of these kids years ago. You know, I was one of these kids, and to know that I can give back, and that I'm showing, and I even talk to them sometimes and tell them, hey, I could be where you was, but I never was there, but I changed the path. But to know I gave back is rewarding to me, and like how he said, to see people and know their stories and say exactly what it says. Yeah.
Definitely.
How many staff members do you have in here working? Officers.
Right now, because we're down, I would say 28. We were really supposed to have 34, 35, something like that, if I'm correct. We've been down. Need a lot of males. So if there's some males out there that want to work,
Please put it out there. Tell
Yes.
people how to apply.
so
Yes.
for anybody who wants to apply, male or female, what is the starting salary? Because that's the first thing that people want to ask.
I
What
would
is
say
the starting salary? What are the benefits?
It's $19.41 starting off. You gotta have either psychology or sociology. And even if you don't have that, if you worked in a capacity with kids or in a church or whatever else, with kids, have that, we can, the benefits are excellent.
We're talking about having an associate's degree.
And you don't,
But you don't have
You
to.
don't have to.
It's preferred.
It's
but you
preferred,
don't have
right. But like I said, we can, if you've worked in the capacity with kids some type of way, whatever, we can.
Okay. So anybody that wants to apply, how will they reach out to you, or how they will find out about how to apply?
They can go on the WYCO.org site, and it's called Juvenile Care Worker. Starts off at 1941. Don't quote me, because then if it's 19 something, you'll be mad at me. But and the benefits, I mean, that's all listed on there. But
So when a rookie officer, for lack of a better word here, starts, do they have different hours? Is it?
no, the
Like,
hours
you're
are
gonna be
12-hour shifts.
12-hour shifts.
We have 4 different shifts. We have our A shift, and that's 6 at night to 6 in the morning. The next shift comes on 6 in the morning to 6 on Wednesdays. All 4 shifts only work 6 hours. They work 4 days on, 3 days off.
Wow.
Now,
That's,
how about volunteers? Do you take volunteers?
Yes.
Are you
Oh, yeah.
accepting volunteers?
Yeah, we accept
What can they do? How can they do it?
Just contact me. You can contact me at I don't know if you want to give the number out.
You can give the
It's,
number out.
Our number is 913-573-4112, and I would hook them up with our program coordinator and get it started. We have a application they fill out, pretty much, just a background thing, whatever, because we don't want to get the wrong people in here. We want to get the right people in here, and so.
What kind of volunteers do you need?
I would say all kind of
kinds,
volunteers.
yeah.
Just let us know what you do, and we'll get you acclimated in here, because
I was
these
gonna
kids
say
need a little bit of everything.
To do it specifically what?
Continue with the life skills with these
Life
kids.
skills.
They really need life skills.
Learning how to do job applications. A lot of them don't know how to do a job application. Those things you need that to really get out there in the world. I mean, it's a lot of things I could sit here and just list, but we need people to come in here. Like they said, it takes a village.
I sometimes I wonder, again, I always go back to you get Cain's mark on your forehead, you're a felon,
Mhm.
and then nobody hires you.
Right.
You know, it's like nobody wants to hire anybody that has a record, and we forgive me. It's like we proclaim the sanctity of life,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mhm.
But once that child comes out of his mother's womb, it's like, hey buddy,
Right.
have a great life.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So long.
Although things have changed with the felon check mark, a lot of job applications don't ask you to check.
Correct.
Amazon, they're hiring felons, and I know quite a
Yep,
few
sure.
juvenile, and they went into the adult side,
Of
became,
course.
And you know what? That would be something good because you saying that there is jobs like Babbling, and I had heard they,
Mhm.
but someone to even give us a list of how can these kids, what jobs can they get? You know, that's something good. Because a lot of people don't know what jobs to get. 'Cause when
So
they go,
anybody listening, you know who hires convicted felons, please let us know. Reach out to us so we can put it on our podcast.
especially the 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds
Yes.
that have kids.
You have to have, without life skills, without accepting responsibility and accountability, without having integrity and honor, you're gonna have a tough time in life.
Oh, yeah.
I was teaching life skills here also, and I do not all the time, but this young man, not all of them, they don't know that when you shake hands, you look at the person
Yes.
into the
Yeah.
eyes.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You stand up, you firm shake,
Mhm.
and look into their eyes.
Mhm.
They didn't know that.
And that's what I teach them too is when you speak into an adult, it's yes sir, yes ma'am.
Mhm.
It's not yeah
Mhm.
or what'd you say? That's not how
Mhm.
we answer. So
Yeah, going to a job application, there's a proper way, interview, a proper way to dress.
Right.
And there's a proper way to show your manners and respect and acknowledge the person's presence and things like that. A lot of them don't know that. And some of them do, but they choose not to do it. We have quite a few of them that come from good families,
Yes.
good working families. I know of a young man that, family bought him, I'm not going to say what, but different things for him to do right, still chose the
The wrong path.
wrong path.
we've seen those
Mhm.
families too.
You know,
It's like
So, we go back to it takes a village.
yeah.
It takes a
Yes,
village
it
to
does.
raise one child.
Mhm.
And one child at a time will make a difference in 20 years.
That's
Yeah.
right.
You
A lot
know.
of positive reinforcement.
Mhm.
Over and
Mhm.
over and over. The kids got to hear it over and over and over. They got to stop hearing all this negative
Negativity,
stuff.
right.
Mhm.
So yeah, we got to stay positive. And like you said, we here, if you're going to come to this job, know that we are looking for people to be great mentors and role models. These kids are looking at us. You think they're not watching you, they are.
Mhm.
They are learning from you how to be a productive citizen in this society. So we want productive workers here. People with high moral character. That's what we want in this
Not just to
facility.
come get a paycheck.
Correct.
Mhm.
Correct.
Wow.
Now, you just mentioned that some of these kids who are convicted felon, they also come from good family.
Oh yeah.
Are these kids an anomaly, or is this just something that is happening more frequently? Because normally, when we look at the average criminal, the average person that is involved in crime, they normally come from marginalized, disenfranchised families that are broken, families where there is a single parent, or families where parents are working two, sometimes three
Mhm.
jobs,
Mhm.
and the mom or the dad is never present. So is that what you see mostly here? Kids that come
I
from
mean, it's a 50-50. I mean, I haven't seen kids that come in here that have parents that, for years ago, that are judges and lawyers and, police officers or
Mhm.
whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not just broken families.
Families.
Mhm.
It's so I couldn't say it's just broken families, but so it's
Mhm.
kind of here and there, you know.
And I think it still boils down to the environment that the
they
kid
come
is in.
from, right.
Because just because financially this household is successful, that still don't mean that they're holding their
Correct.
child
I agree.
accountable
Right.
for their actions. Maybe
I
they're
agree.
giving them too much.
Too much.
You know, and this kid is expecting, hey, this is how life goes. I just asked for this and I get it. I don't have to be like, oh, well, I didn't do my schoolwork. Mom and dad don't care.
Right.
That's one thing that I wanted to get to, because if you are not given discipline at home, if you're not being held accountable and responsible for your actions, I don't care if you come from one of the most successful families in the
Right.
U.S. or the world,
Right.
you will be a criminal. And
That's right.
I don't see any difference between
Mhm.
the guy who is in Wall Street
Right.
and he steals, $20 billion from everyone's retirement plan, and the guy who steals a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
To me, it's the same.
Same, yeah.
Yeah.
The only difference is that the guy who is up at the highest level has the best attorneys in the world to defend him
Yeah.
Well, we can be here
forever.
forever and
Forever.
ever. But
So
we want to thank you for your time. We want to thank you to help us educate ourselves about what's happening here in the Juvenile Detention Center with programs and what you guys are doing here. Do you have any closing remarks to people listening?
anything that
Yeah.
you would like to tell the kids out there, or the parents.
I would just like to tell them it's okay to say you need help as a parent. We're all learning. We're doing the best that we can for our kids. You're not going to be the perfect parent. If I need to call Mr. Cervantes here to talk to my kid because I feel like I'm not reaching him, I know I can do that. He's a part of my village. Get you a village that will help with your kids. We all need help because sometimes what we're saying to our kids becomes stale and dry.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
get you some other people in your inner circle that can talk to your kids that you know they mean the best for your kids.
Mhm.
That's all I have.
Same.
Second, your second.
Second that emotion.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we want
Wow.
to thank you so much. We want to thank you so much for what you do. I think it's a very tough job mentally
Yes.
for you guys.
Mhm.
And I believe that you have to have a beautiful heart, a good heart, to do what you do.
And they do.
Yes,
They do.
because
Mhm.
you constantly see people out there criticizing others, and they don't see exactly what they do and
Mhm.
how they do it.
Yeah.
In particular, people working in the juvenile
Mhm.
or even in adult detention
Mhm.
centers, or even law
Yeah.
enforcement officers,
Mhm.
that are out there.
And just for the record, I know that sometimes we run into kids, young men and women, that don't want the help.
Right.
You can tell them all you want them to know and to hear, but they will not accept the help. But there is people there all the time. So thank you
you so
for
much.
listening. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for having us here. And remember, you're not alone. You're not alone. It takes a village, okay? Look forward. Don't look back. Stay positive. Till next time.
Thank you.